It's easy to become lost in the daily headlines, and gas costs are skyrocketing. The headlines scream about energy shortages. Some claim it is all the fault of one country. Another blames the market. But what is the true story? Why is Europe running out of gasoline so quickly? So what does this mean for the continent and the world? What's the broader picture here? It appears like the energy problem is becoming worse by the day. But do we truly know the whole story? And more significantly, how does this circumstance impact you, your family, and your business? Is this just another momentary blip? Is something far bigger simmering behind the scenes? Let's dive further into this. We are not simply discussing energy shortages here. What we're witnessing might mark a watershed moment in Europe's energy future, one that has the potential to have far-reaching consequences and change our world for many years. We'll look at history, politics, economics, and most importantly, what happens next. So, settle in. This is not only a headline. There's a storm building, and it might change everything. Now, let us be clear. The European gas crisis concerns more than just a shortage of natural gas. This is about the delicate energy balance that sustains whole economies. Think about it. Energy is the foundation of all we do. It's in our houses, fueling our stoves, illuminating our streets, and powering factories. Nothing works if there is no energy. For many years, Europe has relied heavily on natural gas supplies from Russia. But today, things are changing, and not in the way everyone imagined. The crisis is more than simply a blip. It is a sign of a much deeper problem, one that might fundamentally alter Europe's energy landscape for decades. Most people believe that the gas emanates from pipes that run across Russia and into Europe's center. For a long time, things were simple. Russia held the gas, Europe needs it, and everyone was pleased. But the global landscape has shifted tremendously. The United States and other players began the game with their own gas supply, LNG cargoes, and other energy sources. But it isn't enough. Europe still relies on imports to keep things going. But here's the issue. Europe's reliance on natural gas extends beyond pipes and shipping. It's a game about politics, economy, and survival. You've probably heard that Europe is running short of gasoline. The figures are startling. Gas stocks are dwindling quicker than anyone expected. The rate at which these reserves are depleting is the quickest we have seen in years. Almost 6 years, in fact. But why is this occurring now? Short answer. Europe is dealing with a variety of difficulties. First, there is a great demand for gas as winter approaches. Then the weather became uncertain. Some years, the continent has warmer winters, allowing reserves to endure longer. However, things have changed this year. With a colder-than-average winter forecast, Europe may run out of stored gas by the time the chill sets in. However, the issue is not only related to the weather. The worldwide gas market is under duress. Japan, South Korea, and China are all in the market for liquefied natural gas, LNG, and are competing with Europe for these valuable cargoes. The rivalry is strong, and Europe is unable to acquire the necessary gas supplies. So what does this imply for Europeans? There will undoubtedly be higher energy expenses. However, it might also result in power outages, industry shutdowns, and even interruptions to essential services. For many European countries, this is a serious threat, one that's swiftly approaching them. Let's stand back for a bit. The gas scarcity in Europe is more than simply an economic concern. It's also a political issue. Energy is power. And as global tensions grow, we must consider how energy fits into the greater geopolitical picture. Consider Russia, for example. As Europe continues to turn away from Russian gas, the nation reconsiders its approach. Where is it directing its attention? To Beijing. Gazprom, Russia's gas behemoth, has been looking to Asia, particularly China, as a fresh source of demand. And given China's voracious desire for energy, Russia is trying to negotiate fresh, lucrative deals. So, what does this imply for Europe? As Russia concentrates on Asia, Europe is left scrambling. Europe may be losing ground in the energy diplomacy game. With fewer resources accessible and costs rising, Europe's energy security is becoming increasingly dubious. So, with all of this in mind, what happens next? The immediate issue is Europe's capacity to withstand the next winter. Gasoline supplies are already running short. An unexpected cold snap might have disastrous consequences. The short-term solution? It's going to be challenging. There is no easy solution. In the following months, European countries are expected to rely on imports from the United States and the Middle East. However, as we have seen, these supplies are not assured. The worldwide LNG market has grown narrow, and prices are skyrocketing. For customers, this implies increased bills. For businesses, this might entail slower output. But let us think beyond the present problem. What happens over the long term? Europe has been attempting to move to cleaner energy, with significant investments in renewables, such as wind, solar, and nuclear. The objective is to lessen reliance on fossil fuels and increase self-sufficiency. But that change will take time. We're talking years or maybe decades. In the meantime, Europe will require dependable, inexpensive energy sources to keep the lights on and the economy going. This is where Europe confronts a difficult decision. Should it double down on renewable energy investments? Should it pursue additional natural gas imports from alternate sources, such as the United States or Africa? It's a balancing act, and Europe will have to make some difficult decisions. One thing is evident. The gasoline crisis is a wake-up call. Europe must reconsider its energy policy and make decisive decisions on how to proceed. While certain regions of Europe are already experiencing the consequences of gas shortages, the situation is far from transient. In reality, this crisis reveals a larger issue that has the potential to transform the continent's energy future for many years. The ripple consequences of this scarcity, from rising energy bills to plant closures, threaten to reveal exactly how vulnerable Europe's reliance on external energy supplies has grown. Industries in Germany, France, and other nations are starting to feel the pinch as rising gas costs and unstable supply chains force production shutdowns. Some industries, such as manufacturing and chemicals, have been struck hardest. With natural gas reserves quickly diminishing, many businesses are in a dangerous situation. Reduce output or risk losing competitiveness completely. However, Europe's biggest difficulty isn't just obtaining enough gas. The issue is whether Europe did enough to prepare for this. After years of relying on Russian gas imports, the transition has revealed weaknesses, and alternate supplies, such as liquefied natural gas, LNG, are insufficient to fill the shortfall. And with international tensions growing, ensuring long-term reliable energy supply is becoming an increasingly difficult challenge. The clock is ticking. And while Europe searches for answers, one thing is certain. This crisis might either compel Europe to make faster, more drastic changes in energy policy. Alternatively, it might put countries at a crossroads, with sectors withering and economic stability hanging in the balance. The fundamental question is, how far will Europe go to transform its future? What sacrifices will be required? As the crisis worsens, we must ask ourselves who will bear the brunt of the consequences. Not alone will European governments and energy firms suffer. It will be regular folks. Families are already feeling the heat, with soaring electricity costs and continual concerns about whether they will have enough energy to keep warm. But there is a greater question. Can the European Union unite to help its citizens in the face of this crisis? Can countries work together to discover sustainable solutions? Or will divisions deepen as each country seeks to ensure its own energy future? The gas crisis is already exposing flaws in Europe's energy policies. Some countries are more prepared than others, and they may be less eager to share their resources when times get tough. Europe's long-standing pride in togetherness may be put to the test in new ways. This is a pivotal moment for Europe. The gas issue is much more than simply pricing and availability. It is about how Europe will adapt to this problem and if it will create a more robust energy system. What should we anticipate in the future? The next 4 years will be crucial in determining how Europe addresses its energy issue. Will it adapt to the shifting global landscape? Will it develop new and imaginative methods to fulfill its energy requirements? Only time will tell. But one thing is for certain. The future of electricity in Europe is at stake. It's not only about surviving the coming winter. It is about ensuring a sustainable, secure, and cost-effective energy future for future generations. So, as the gas scarcity worsens, ask yourself, are you prepared for what's coming? And how will Europe deal with the largest energy catastrophe of its time?